guess what? We're not apologizing for that dub. It's PHNX Cardinals postgame starts now. It's the PHNX Cardinals post-game show presented by our friends at Bet365. I'm Johnny Venerable, the playmaker. Former Arizona Cardinal wide receiver Brittan Golden is here. We got Brack coming up at State Farm Stadium. Damon, Dawg, producer extraordinaire behind the microphone. The Arizona Cardinals do what they need to. They get a dub, keep their playoff hopes alive in the process, beating the Patriots at home 30-17. We're going to talk about it, the highs, the defense, the lows. This passing game, I hope you passed on a lot of the props with the Cardinals offense with our friends at Bet365. Download the app today. Bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer. Find out why, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary with Bet365. Drop a like on this video. Did you like what you saw from the Cardinals today, or are we sitting here still with more questions than answers?
Defensively, I think you have to like what you saw today. I mean, yeah, you gave up some points in garbage time. You'd like to see him, keep him out of the end zone a couple of times. But I think as a whole, this defense has done what they're supposed to do week in and week out. Offensively, there's still questions.
Yeah.
You've just got so many. There's more questions than you have answers. And the passing game it's literally non-existent. Right? If you take Trey McBride out of this offense, you throw for 30 yards a game.
Yep. I mean, it's an offense right now that remains an enigma. And again, like I no disrespect to the Patriots. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about New England today. That is, a step above an XFL level roster. It resembles a lot of what the Cardinals were attempting to do last year. They've got defensive players playing offense. Drake May showed some signs, good for him, but that's a game where I get it. You put up 30, you have to put in your backup. They're going to say all the right things post-game that they got a comfortable win. But, I mean, that offense, that performance, Brittan Golden, when you think about the lead at halftime being as minimal as it was, the fact that you consistently had to defer to Chad Ryland, just not good enough.
No, and it's not. And, I mean, at the end of the day, you got the W, right? It keeps your very, very slim chances of playoffs alive.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've got to find ways to win over the next 3 weeks, and this isn't going to help you win. Like, you've got to put the ball in the, you got to score touchdowns. You were able to do it late in the game with James Conner, but I mean, again, it's just like what I said about Trey McBride a few minutes ago. You take Trey McBride and James Conner out of this offense, you do not have an offense.
No.
Period. So, I mean, enjoy the win. You got a good win. You got yourself back to 500, but you got to go back to the drawing board this week. You've got to find ways to push the ball downfield because this is not going to get it done.
No, but who did get it done today? X Factor player of the game, very, very well-deserved, poetic. Darius Robinson, 3 total tackles, had a sack, had a pivotal holding penalty drawn. You definitely could have given it to James Conner. We've done that many times. It just feels very appropriate given everything Darius has had to go through. He was incredibly active at the line of scrimmage. The defense played well. They gave up 2 touchdowns late. They kind of took their foot off the gas. They're going to hear about it from Nick Rollis and Jonathan Gannon. But I thought big number 56 showed you a lot of why you took him 27th overall and the kind of player that we saw, frankly, throughout the duration of training camp. D-Rob was fantastic. Hopefully he builds on this performance.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to what, just getting back into the swing of things. Yeah, it's this 3rd game he's played since he's been back, right?
Yeah.
And it's just creating havoc, continuing to create havoc in the box, and force the pocket to collapse. And he did a great job out today, got his first sack. So, I mean, he's back out, hopefully he's progressing each and every week and, just continue to do that for the rest of the season.
Everybody be sure to drop a like on this video. Again, the goal for any post-game show is 1,000 likes. Help us get there with our friends at Bet365. Let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals today. Sanderson, Ford, drive of the game. And I look at it throughout the duration of this game. Cardinals were up 13-3, then they were up 13-16, 13, 20, or excuse me, 3-23. I think I'm going to go with the James Conner touchdown run on 3rd and goal at the one, which basically ended this game. Cardinals took over after a short field position secured by Sean Murphy-Bunting, had the interception. Kyler Murray, again, to your point, his only safety net right now, we're going to talk about the continued disconnect with Marvin Harrison Jr. Kyler Murray goes to Trey McBride for 7 for 29. James Conner gets it going for 4 yards, 3 yards. Kyler Murray goes to James Conner for 12 yards. I mean, then they score, again, a touchdown on 3rd and 1. Tried to get Trey McBride that elusive receiving touchdown. He does not have one yet. Broke the record for most receptions without a receiving touchdown, which is great for Trey because he's super productive. Not great for, I think it's a big indictment, frankly, Drew Petzing. But for me, it's like, okay, you know what you are right now. You're a tight end, running back led offense. You're a conservative offense. And against bad teams, you're really effective. Your defense is opportunistic. It's dominant at times. But when you need to be a hotshot upstart offense behind Kyler Murray and these receivers, you cannot do that. And today, I thought it was a perfect opportunity to come out and say, like, we're going to show you something that you haven't seen before. Since the Miami game, since the Rams game, we're going to show you that we've established this passing game and we've got weapons aplenty. And what did they do instead? They said, nope, actually, we're going to go back to the well. We want this win. Kudos to them for getting it. But again, we're sitting here and it's like, I know James Conner's good at football. I know Trey McBride's good at football. Here's what I don't know. Can Kyler Murray carry this team on his back in December? Can he throw for, the same amount of passing touchdowns as Cooper Rush in a game? Can Marvin Harrison Jr. solidify himself among Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors? Like, that's where we're at with this team. Like, you can take wins and say that they're significant building blocks, but this fan base, you would know that the Cardinals won this game today.
No, I mean, and it's the score. Yes, you know they won from the score, and again, the defense is really the reason why you had an opportunity to run away with this score. All right, the first half they played lights out. Most of the second half they played lights out. They gave up very few explosive plays today. There were a few they gave up, but I mean, this defense has kept you in ball games all season long, and like we've said all season long, they're overachieving each and every week with they don't have big name talent out there on defense, but these guys go out there and they play with heart each and every week. They play to win, right? Budda Baker's, I think, leads the league in tackles right now at safety, which is unbelievable.
It's been fantastic.
But I mean, those guys go out there and they give you an opportunity to win. Now the offense is just completely peed down their leg at times. Especially the last 3 weeks, they did what they had to do today. They took care of business. One, James Conner ran the ball tremendously well. The offensive line played tremendously better. Again, it was a not very good team they played today, but
yeah,
to go out there and to have success against the bad team is what you got to do, right? You just have to find ways to keep this run game moving forward as you go to the 2 division games coming up.
Let's mix it up, Damon. Let's jump into a couple of these early super chats here. Let's take the pulse of the chat. And let's get it going with a very generous super chat from our guy, Potato Bread.
Yeah, 1999 from Potato Bread says, a win is a win, but it would have been a little more satisfying if the Pats had that clown Marco Wilson on the sideline, at least for this game.
Yeah, Marco Wilson, ghost of Cardinals past, is a Patriot's, been bounced around the NFL, throwing shoes and such back in his days as a Florida Gator. But, I mean, Cardinals, they were favored by 6.5, 7, depending on what sports book you dabble with. They have every opportunity to blow out this team, and this for the the people who didn't watch this game, people are going to assume this was a comfortable win, and at times it was in the second half. But again, like I go to this next super chat, Damon, it's just not the kind of productive outing that you were hoping for. Like Turtle Trolls 199, I think says it best. Like most underwhelming blowout, to be honest. Like, and again, if the Cardinals, Brittan, weren't facing the bombardment of can Kyler Murray win late in the year? Is this passing game broken? Is Marv a bust? Is Drew Petzing, should he be fired? If none of that stuff was happening, like it was pre-bye, and the Cardinals were winning, people would take this win and say, great win, move on to the next one. But it's because this post-bye scenario has been tainted by the Cardinals' ineptitude offensively that people still, rightfully so, are refusing to wrap their arms around this current regime, this current indentation of the Cardinals offense. If it's just another win, you feel good about it. You put it on your pile and you move on. But they just didn't answer enough with this. I mean, that Kyler Murray pick that got, wiped away by a roughing call. I mean, that was as egregious as we've seen from K1.
Yeah, that's a ball that you can't throw.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows it. He got bailed out. I mean, otherwise we'd be sitting here even with the win today. I mean, they still probably win even with that if it's picked, but that's just something that you can't do. That's bad. That's backyard football. That's a bad throw in backyard football.
Yeah.
It's bad. I mean, you won this game comfortably. Back to what you were saying, but how he says the most underwhelming. Like if they would have scored 25 points in the first half, okay, they blew them out. We see what we're doing, but you had 13 points at halftime, and behind 2 field goals, and it was just it was close, right? Even if they come out in the second half, like if you come out and the Patriots score a touchdown early in the second half, that it's a 3-point ball game.
No doubt.
It was close for way too long for people to feel comfortable that this was a statement win, and it wasn't. You scored 30 points, though. Good. That's what you needed to see. You needed to see the offense come out and put points on the board. But, it's a bad defense. It's not against, and you have to score against bad defenses, but it was a close game for way too long.
Here's the problem, though, is I know the Cardinals can run the football against bad teams. They did it against the Jets and the Bears and, some of the teams they beat early on. I get that. Awesome. Congratulations. 3 good teams in a row, or 3 weeks worth of good teams, Seattle and Minnesota, stopped the run. Then what did you have? You didn't have anything. And we saw that
Trey
today.
McBride.
Well, but in terms of
that's what I'm saying.
In terms of touchdowns, you couldn't score. They scored today doing what? Running the football, because the Patriots cannot stop it. But the Cardinals don't have a second gear offensively. And everybody in this fan base knows that when they have to hit that next gear, they can't. And it's not because of the Patriots issues that we heard about slobberfest throughout the entire broadcast, where wait until you get Drake May, significant weapons offensively. Wait till you get him his own Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride and James Conner. And I get that. That's a good argument. That's hope for New England. This is the Cardinals offense. This is who's going to be running it next year. This is who's going to be quarterbacking it. These are the weapons. Greg Dortch could leave. They could add a third receiver. Congratulations. They'll get a left guard. So why as a Cardinal fan, am I supposed to believe that this is just going to be that much better next year? Sure, the development of K1 with Petzine and hopefully Marv takes the next step, but you're selling Cardinal fans on hope when we see Cliff Kingsbury and Terry McLaurin throw for multiple touchdowns every single game. It shouldn't take you multiple years to implement an offense that can score, especially when you've developed and purged so many resources. Paris was a first-round pick. Marvin, Trey's a high pick. Connor just got extended. You're paying big money to Yoda Froholt now. You took Trey Benson. You took Tip Prime in his top 100 picks. Cardinal fans should not have to be patient with this offense anymore. And the scary part is, Brittan, it's this is who they are for this year. If they win next week against Carolina, guess what it's going to be spearheaded by? The run game. If they lose against the Rams and the 49ers, which I think is very prevalent now because I haven't seen the evolution, guess who's going to take the blame? The passing game. And that's going to put a big fat stench on your offseason for 6 months. And you know what? They deserve it. You got to eat a big you-know-what sandwich because you didn't prove it. You had 17 weeks to prove it, guys. Your clock's ticking. You're out of time.
Alex
199, the most unsatisfying win we've ever had.
Again, same argument.
That's the theme, man. That's the theme, Alex. We're going to get more here on PHNX Cardinals. We're going to hear from Bo Brack at State Farm Stadium. We're going to hear from JG and Kyler Murray. And I'm sure they're happy about a win. They deserve a win. But again, considering the opponent, I think Cardinal fans are taking this one with a big fat grain of salt. Do us a favor. Drop a like. We got so much good stuff coming up right around the corner on PHNX Cardinals. Speaking of good stuff, this hat right here via my friends at Branded Bills, one of my favorite collections, partnerships, whatever you call it, we've ever done is with our friends at Branded Bills, locally owned, operated here in Mesa, Arizona. They've got some of the freshest hats you have ever seen. And we're going to hook you up 20% off your first order with the bonus code PHNX. Just head to brandedbills.com. Use the bonus code PHNX for any kind of snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, tees. They've got you covered with performance and style. And again, I love that they're locally owned and operated. They're repping ASU here in the college football playoff, and they're also proud partner with U of A Athletics. If you're into that sort of thing, Damon, Dawg, not in the college football playoff, but basketball season is in full swing. Plus, of course, check out the Branded Bills collection of our own gear at gophnx.com. Again, head to brandedbills.com. Bonus code PHNX for $20 off your first order. Speaking of money off of an order, how about our friends at HelloFresh? HelloFresh, again, I can't get enough of it. My wife, my kids, they've got so many different options, packages, variety. So fired up to be partnered with the premier food company delivered right to your doorstep. It is first class how they get it to you, how quickly that you can update it on your app, the variety, the add-ons. They've got desserts, they've got breakfast food, they've got dinner. And again, I'm somebody, I got 2 kids, Brittan's got 3 kids, right? It's hard to get dinner ready in a timely fashion. You got homework, you got other priorities. HelloFresh is going to hook you up, right? It's not fast food, but it's fast to get in your belly, out of the kitchen, onto your dinner plate right now. Check them out. Get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com with the bonus code, I believe it is, Free Cardinals. Love that. I love Free Cardinals with free meals. It's applied to 7 boxes, new subscribers only. And again, 10 free meals with the bonus code Free Cardinals right now. Get hooked up with the premier food service app right now, HelloFresh. You've heard of them before. We're so fired up to be partnered with them now. We're fired up on a post-game show. Drop us a like, and let's get back to some of these super chats. Damon, Dawg.
Let's do that. You what? 999 comes in and says they got it done the way they have all year. Would like to see Murray have a stat stuffing game, but it's clearly more Petzing than it is K1. 30 points is 30 points, and they will win a lot scoring 30.
I agree. You'll win games scoring 30 points. You'll win a lot of games scoring. You'll win more than you lose scoring 30 points. I just don't want people to get a false sense of hope. 30 points on the New England Patriots is a lot different than scoring 30 points on the Rams or 30 points on the Seahawks. Like, if you'd have put up 30 points against the Seahawks, you probably win that game.
Yeah. But they couldn't do it.
And you couldn't.
No.
And there was no chance of putting up 30, right? This is a defense that you played today that if you didn't put up 30 points today, there's been a lot more questions than what we're asking now.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like we checked the box all week of you have to win this game, you have to blow them out, you have to look dominant, you have to begin to silence critics, and you did some of that. But, I mean, if you didn't like Kyler Murray and his performance post-bye pregame, you're sure as hell not going to like it now. If you think Marvin Harrison Jr. can't separate, you're not going to agree with what you saw today as well, right? There's just, I know James Conner's a baller. Same with Trey McBride. I know Nick Rawls can coach defense. I know Jonathan Gannon's a good head coach. But again, this had the feel of a team with a ceiling. And it's not a ceiling that I think is going to be broken by just an influx of free agents trading for a pass rusher, another draft class. Again, tell me in the chat, tell me here with a super chat or whatever, and I'll pose this to one of my 2 co-hosts here, what's changing offensively from this year to next year? Significantly. Outside, they're going to do a lot of this, right? We're going to hear a lot of this February, March, April, May, OTAs and mini camp, and we're going to see all the highlights, right? We're going to put it out there, the B-roll and the clips. Hey, everything's good. Look at this passing game that we have against Air. And we're not going to play anybody in the preseason, and we're going to fast forward to September. And are we going to get our ass kicked by the Seahawks again? Are we going to no-show in some of these pivotal matchups? Packers, Washington. We had 1 touchdown against the Vikings. To me, it's if you're serious about making changes and you're Jonathan Gannon and you know that if you're saddling yourself with Drew Petzing, that you got an opportunity to miss the playoffs again next year, if you don't make it this year, you got to take a big swing. This league's about big swings, both from a personnel standpoint and a coaching standpoint. I think Jonathan Gannon really has to look in the mirror and say, is Drew Petzing the guy calling plays to get me to the postseason? You want to complain about Kyler Murray not being the guy? Monty Ossenford can take care of that. They can look at draft picks in the future. They could sign somebody. But Kyler Murray is the quarterback, where you have a real, tangible opportunity to say, we're going to make the most of our receivers in this passing game. We're going to give Kyler Murray 1 shot in 2025, and we're going to do it with a guy that can come in here and revolutionize this passing game. Instead of going with this offense right now that feels like respectfully, it feels like high school-esque at times. Running the football on 2nd and 3rd down, right? Running the football with under 2 minutes and a half. Cardinal fans know, like, you're not beating good teams this way. You're just not.
No, and you're not. And like you have to be able, in the NFL, you have to be able to stretch the football field.
Yeah.
You've got to give defensive coordinators some type of fear that somebody's going to go over the top, and you just don't have that, right? We saw Michael Wilson do it last week, right? You started off the game against Seattle, and everybody was sitting here at the edge of their seat like, okay, this is what we've been waiting for, right? We got a deep touchdown pass to Michael Wilson. We got a good first drive of the game, this is everything, and then it just completely shut off. There's nobody on this Cardinals offense that threatens a defensive coordinator down the field. Like there's nobody in the world that feels threatened here because one, we don't run down the field. Two, we don't throw the ball down the field.
Yep.
And three, our guys are they don't create separation down the field. So there's no comfortability for Kyler to say, I want to let this thing fly. We saw it multiple times a day. I mean, he threw it a couple times to Marvin Harrison down there. And he gave him 50-50 chances, right? Christian Gonzalez, give him credit, made a great play in the end zone. I still think Marvin needs to find a way to come down with that football, but we just don't create enough separation to be able to push the ball downfield, which is why you're seeing these defensive coordinators come in here and put 8 people in the box every single game.
Yeah.
And when we got stuffed last week, or the 3 weeks prior, the run game wasn't the run game because you've got a stacked box. Guys are just coming in there, they're putting 8 guys in the box, and they're saying, we dare you to throw the ball over the top. Because we don't think you will.
Like, if you don't think the LA Rams in this matchup in 2 weeks are going to stack the box and just say, hey, Kyler in this passing game beat us, you're nuts. Like, the Rams might be the best coach team in the NFL, sans like the Chiefs right now. And they know in the first matchup, like the Cardinals got them when they weren't at their best. You're going to go into SoFi Stadium, and this is the kind of offense you think you're going to beat. Like, I love Nick Ross and what he's doing. Like, the Rams are going to score against the Cardinals in 2 weeks. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and Kerwin Williams, like, those guys are going to play well. Are the Cardinals prepared to play that style of game? Or do they need to, like, pitch a perfect game defensively to have a shot? Like, the Patriots could not, save for those last couple drives, it didn't mean much. They could not have been more inept offensively. They do not have the personnel. The Cardinals should have boat raced this team. And they just, for whatever reason, man, they don't have that innate ability to say, like, hey, there are chunk plays to be had and we're going to get them. It's more like, I'm going to start this drive and nobody's going to try to establish the run harder than the Arizona Cardinals, right? 2nd and 8, 3rd and 4, right? Dump off. May at one point they were 1 for 6 on 3rd down against the Patriots. 1 for 6. Not good enough. Who is good enough? Let's count some cards here on a PHNX Cardinals post-game show. Drop us a like. We got almost 500 people watching. We appreciate you all. Drop a like, subscribe here on YouTube. Let's count some cards. Damon, Dawg, and of course, James Conner easily could have been the player of the game. Had 2 touchdowns, 110 yards rushing, was a physical presence. Brittan, you mentioned it multiple times as we were sitting here. He looked surprisingly fast, had that burst back in his game. So fresh off his 2-year, $19 million extension, it's good to see number 6 get back in the end zone.
No, it was good. I mean, it's good to see him run the ball. I mean, today he showed, I mean, he had that burst, like you said. He had the burst getting out of the backfield, hits the whole hard. He hits it with force, and he comes out, right? He had that big, long, 40-plus yard run. He had a little extra burst in there. I mean, when James Conner's in the game, you just know that there's going to be positive yards gained.
Yeah.
Right? He finishes forward. He falls forward. He gives you every opportunity to move the football down the field. So, I mean, a healthy James Conner always bodes well for this offense.
Trey McBride, ho-hum, another huge game, 87 yards. He's going to, barring a collapse, he's going to eclipse 1,000 yards receiving on the year in these final 3 games. He deserves all the accolades. It's going to be a federal crime if he is not in the Pro Bowl this year after getting snubbed last year. So Cardinals, help us. Let's get Trey McBride to the Pro Bowl. 9 receptions, 87 yards. Had like 25 yards at half. Was a big reason why the Cardinals kept converting on 3rd down. We still can't get him a receiving touchdown. And again, it's an indictment of K1. It's an indictment of Petsy. Like, Trey McBride not having any receiving touchdowns 99% of the time has nothing to do with Trey McBride. So another big game from the Cardinals, co-best offensive player along with James Conner. And then Baron Browning smoked the, I believe it was the left tackle for the Patriots early in that game. Had not had a sack all year. Was acquired by Monty Osborne at the deadline from the Broncos for a 6th-round pick and had done some okay things. tackle for loss, some holding penalties here and there. This is the first time he got after the QB. Could have easily had another one that went to Zaven Collins. So, considering the opponent, I'm impressed. But you got to do it against good teams. I wonder if Baron Browning's a guy that they would think to bring back next year on a cheap, depth kind of deal. Could he be the new Dennis Gardeck for Nick Rallis?
I mean, he played really well today. I mean, I thought he should have at least gotten a half a sack on that second one. I mean, he generated all the pressure, got the first touch there. But this is the best game by far that we've seen from Baron Browning, especially rushing the passer. So, I mean, hopefully this is one of those building blocks and stepping stones, right? And we see progression as we keep going. But like you said, it's got to happen. You got to be able to do it against the good teams. You can't just have, really, really good success against bad teams and then not show up against the good ones. So, I thought he played well today, and I hope it's a trend.
Yeah, he's somebody that, again, you want him on your team. I was just disappointed at the deadline when they acquired him, when I thought better players were there to be had, and the Cardinals tried to get better players, and we're going to certainly talk about throughout the duration of the offseason. But kudos to Baron Browning. Not great in space, but certainly great to try to get some pressure for the Cardinals, who desperately needed it. Let's get back to some of these Super Chats. Damon, Dawg.
Let's do it. Starting off with Isaiah coming in with a 199 Super Chat, says, Dortch featured over Marv is crazy. Fire Drew.
I just feel like the Cardinals are very specific with what they want from Marv, and it's literally, hey, Marv, unless you're representing this offense as a vertical number one X receiver, you have no business being around the line of scrimmage, 5 to 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. Like, that is reserved for slot receivers, tight ends, and running backs. And you watch guys like CeeDee Lamb and some of these other guys that are moved around. Jamar Chase is even moved around in the slot. Like, I get it. I'm not going to come up here and say Marv is some finished product and everything he's doing is great. But I do feel like he got into a groove early on, and then, they try to do these back shoulder fades. They're not working. Try something different. And in Drew's mind, it's like, I'm not worried about the psyche of the 4th overall pick. Like, I just want to get yards where I can get them. And I understand that, but Marvin Harrison Jr.'s development and what he means to this franchise is bigger than a 10, 15, 20-point win over the Patriots today. I'm sorry. Like, you ought to be able to do both at the same time. And if not, it's an indictment of you as a play caller.
Well, back to your point right there, right? CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, all, Jackson Smith and Jigba, all these guys that are having crazy success this year.
Yeah.
What is Malik Neighbors? What's the common theme, though? These guys are not only lining up on the outside.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to see Marvin Harrison get some type of, rhythm going, move him. Right? We saw the first catch he had today. What was it? A crossing route.
Yeah.
Right? It's man coverage.
He outran a guy.
All you've got to do, run some rub routes, get him open. Throw him across the field, line him up in the slot, line him up outside, line him up on the left, the right. Like, find ways. I mean, I'll go back to this, right? Nobody knew who Adam Thielen was early on in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And what did they do? Right? They found ways to get Adam Thielen in the slot outside. They used him on crossing routes all day long, and Adam Thielen became a household name. Yep. He became a big-time paid receiver in this league. He's still playing. He's still doing big things for Carolina. Like, that's what you should be doing with Marvin Harrison. Find ways to get him the ball. Right? Run rub routes, mesh routes, crossing routes, quick passes. Get the ball in his hand. Mm-hmm. Right? It's one of those things where we keep saying you want to see him featured in this offense, but right, he's not. And then whenever you try to throw these back shoulders or these jump balls or these 20-yard dig routes downfield and they're not being completed when he's trying to catch it with a body, this and that, like there's a reason there's no cohesiveness. Right? You're sticking him in one spot and trying to expect him to go here. He doesn't have that dog in him right now.
No.
To create separation on the outside and be that Devontae Adams in his prime type guy. I mean, we saw prime Devontae Adams today play the game. Right? We don't have that. You've got to find ways to move him around, put him in situations where he can get open and get the ball with space.
It's the perfect storm because Kyler is struggling, Marvin is struggling, and you have an offensive coordinator that has very little, I think, philosophical belief that throwing downfield is going to equate to, sustainable drives, scoring touchdowns. Like, that's not their philosophy. It's the perfect storm right now. Like, if two of those three things were working, it would be easier to identify the main culprit. But, like, Marv is underproducing in an offense that doesn't highlight receivers.
Agreed.
Kyler Murray is underperforming in an offense that doesn't require a bunch of passing touchdowns, right? What's producing well? the philosophical mindset of Drew Petzing running the football. That's what's producing right now. James Conner, because they put all their bags in, a third blocking tight end, and they brought in Isaiah Adams, who, by the way, played well today. Like, Jonah Williams was brought in over Kelvin Beachum because he's a plus run blocker. That's who they are. And it's like, okay, if that's who you are and that's who you want to be, number one, you better damn well be able to do that against anybody, and you couldn't the last 3 weeks. And number two is, why did you take Marv? Why did you take Marvin Harrison Jr. if this is how you're going to deploy him? You know who can't be happy, and I say this every postgame show, Brittan, is like, if I'm Monty Austin for it, I'm like, guys, like we worked our ass off last year to get that pick, right? And everybody crowned us as the biggest winners of the draft, and it was a big day for this franchise when he was selected 4th overall. And they had trade offers, and they said, no, thank you. And, build the kid up, right? Give him confidence. He had confidence going in the first half. Like, I know people were dogging me because I thought he had a good first half. Like, they wiped away a penalty, right? And he had a first down, and then they really never went back to him again. It's like, unless Marv is catching like end zone fades, he is not a part of the offense between the 20s, especially in the second half. And we knew it. We said it on the halftime show. Cardinals are up 10. It's conservative city. It's going to be dinking and dunking to tight ends and running backs with the occasional maybe deep shot in the red zone. And again, like, I feel like if you're the Arizona Cardinals and you're making a staunch commitment to play rookies to get them confidence and reps, you should take that same mindset with your offense and saying, like, yeah, we know we're in control of this game. We know it's important to get this win, but it's also important for Marvin and Kyler to have some good mojo going into the final 3 games, because we're trending on, it's not disaster class, but man, there's just going to be so many pitchforks out when this is avoidable. And it's avoidable by the coaching staff. Like, I'm always going to defer to the players in this situation. I know Kyler and Marvin are talented. They are imperfect. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting them with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But man, when everybody sitting on their couch or here in the studio, we can see this offense is not it. It's hard not to defend these guys. It's hard not to defend the players.
You want to defend everybody, but it's just, it's week in and week out, and it's the same issue, right? And like you said, like, you see the success early. You got Marv on a crossing route early. You got the ball in Marv's hands again on the outside a little bit. And then I think the only other target we saw again to Marv, which was about 3 or 4 of them, but they were all back shoulder fades and jump balls. And we have not completed. I mean, we can count on one hand how many of those back shoulder fades we probably completed to Marv all year long. It's been the same outcome.
Yep.
The same outcome every single time. So I just, it's the mobility factor. I saw somebody say it in the chat, the mobility factor of why we try to keep Kyler Murray in the pocket. And we did it a little bit better today. They got out of the pocket, did some rollout stuff a little bit better, but it's still not enough. Right? I saw somebody in the chat was like, he's 5'9" on his best day, and that's agreed, right? He's not going to be, if you make him stand in the pocket, balls are going to get batted down every single game, right? So finding ways to get him out of the pocket, finding ways to get receivers like Marv moving around and crossings and creating natural picks in the field to get a guy open in man coverage. It just blows my mind how this is not more of a focal point with this offense, right? You've got an extremely mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
And we saw him use his legs a little bit more today. And that came with, the rollout passes and the waggles and stuff like that. Like, that's what creates that stuff. If nobody's open, Kyler can get you at minimum 4 to 5 yards in a scramble right there, where instead of sitting there if it's 2nd and 10 when you started, instead of going to 3rd and 10, now you're sitting there in 3rd and 6. You're sitting there in 3rd and 4, right? There's issues that can be fixed that way, but trying to keep him in the pocket all day long is not going to help you out. One, as a play caller, it doesn't help. I don't understand why this has been such a such a thing for so long. But I mean, that to me, rolling Kyler out and giving him the opportunity to use his legs if needed seems like this should be like, it's like first day stuff here. Like, this is what we put in day one, of training, knowing who our quarterback is. We don't have a Justin Herbert back there. We don't have a 6'5" guy that weighs 240 pounds that can just stand in the pocket, see over his offensive line and throw it. That's not what we have. And the fact that you're trying to put 5'9" Kyler Murray in that category, the guy's got a hell of an arm. He can throw the football. We understand that, but not when you can't see.
Nope. We have huge breaking news on the show upcoming from Craig Morgan of PHNX Cardinals. Again, stay tuned to this show exclusive to PHNX Sports. Huge breaking news just around the corner here. Big report from our guy Craig Morgan that's coming up on PHNX Cardinals. Before we get to that breaking news, I want to thank our friends at Sanderson Ford for their efforts for Operation Santa Claus. Of course, Sanderson Ford, the largest Ford dealer in the continental United States, 65 acre in Glendale. But they've been doing so much good for this community, and they keep it going this holiday season. They have rounded up so many good causes here, so many funds donated to good causes, including Give to the Claus.com. At the Arizona Bronco Roundup, you're going to be able to see over 200 Broncos from 1966 to 2025 and beyond, or you can purchase a new Bronco Sport for just under $27,000 or a full-size Bronco Wild Track. Right now, Sanderson Ford has over 100 Broncos to see and to check out. The last day to donate for Operation Santa Claus is Tuesday, December 17th, and it's your last chance to win a brand new Ford F-150 Super Crew. Right now, donate with a new unwrapped toy, children's clothing item, or packaged food separately. They do so much good stuff at with GiveToSantaClaus.com. Does Sanderson Ford. Big thanks to them. Big thanks to our friends at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. We talk about giving back. They're going to give back specific to 2 Cardinal fans. Right now, they're giving away a game day experience for the Arizona Cardinals season finale against San Francisco. Who knows? That game could mean something. Enter for your chance to win the ultimate Arizona Cardinal VIP experience. Right now, winners will enjoy 2 tickets to Cardinals hosting San Francisco, plus an on-field pregame experience, lunch at the Morgan Athletic Club, a meet and greet with Big Red and cheerleaders, plus VIP parking, 2-night stay at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Again, our watch parties are electric there. We're going to be back there for early kickoff. Myself, Brittan, Craig Morgan, Damon, Dawg, we're going to be there. You can be there right now. Enter for free. Play at Gila.com/Cardinals. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playathgila.com for more info. And again, breaking news coming from Craig Morgan on this show just around the corner. Drop a like on this video. I like this. Our guy, Brack, live from State Farm Stadium. We teased it. When is this report coming from Craig? Is it imminent?
It is imminent. It's actually going to probably be within the next 10 minutes. He's on with our friends over at 12 News. Going to get up in the press box, and then he's going to drop a little nugget that I think everybody's going to enjoy following an Arizona Cardinals win.
Well, we look forward to that. I'm glad it's good news. Cardinals, even though they get the dub, Brack, we need good news because I do feel like Brittan and I have been talking about it. The fan base, the Bird Gang chats abound. This is an underwhelming win, I think. The Cardinals, kind of slogged their way through, and I know they scored 30 points, but, we know they can run the football against bad teams. They've done it all year. Kyler Murray in this offense, it still is sloppy. Kyler Murray with the bad interception, thankfully got called back. Marvin Harrison Jr., an afterthought in the second half. What was your overall takeaway from this game where, yes, it's great. They're at 500. Congratulations. I'm excited for Jonathan Gannon. But the questions that were before this game still remain post-game.
They still remain, absolutely, especially about Kyler Murray and your 4th overall pick. You're looking for that rapport to make some sort of progress, and I think you can make the case that it took a step back, that they actually they moved on from trying to get that connection going, and they focused on, putting up enough points necessary to win this football game. It became, secondary as far as their focus. Where early on, Marvin Harrison Jr. catches his first 2 targets, but then he goes 0 for 4 the rest of the game. I know one gets negated by the penalty or accepting the penalty late in the first half there. But no, I mean, this was a move to change victory for the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think anybody is coming away from it, especially from an offensive standpoint, and saying, hey, we're back, baby. We're back. Fire up get the wagons going, jump on the bandwagon that this offense is back. But, 30-point performance is nothing to kind of turn your nose up either. I think that this was necessary. They got it done. They moved. They survive, and they advance to next week. And another opportunity for them to get the downfield passing attack going. But, it was nice to see that they get Trey McBride going late in that game. I think they should be given credit for that. especially on third down. McBride came up with a couple key catches there. They got Greg Dortch involved, and I know that's not what everybody's been clamoring for, but it was enough to kind of move the football throughout this game.
Bo, like, what's your analysis of Kyler Murray? I know that efficient in the first half. The Cardinals kicked a couple field goals, had a bad interception, was called back. Like, give a grade for the franchise quarterback. Again, we're watching Jared Goff throw for 5 touchdowns. You see, Drake May show a lively arm. Like, is it Kyler's inability to throw the football downfield and complete it to receivers? Is he being coached to do that? Like, it feels like to us, the Cardinals were like, we're going to run the ball to win this game. And all we care about is getting the win. And I understand the benefit of that. But, Bo, it's the same reason why we sat on the Friday show with Craig and said, well, you got to play rookies to see what you have. I feel like these last couple games, you can talk about winning, and yes, that's important, but it's also important to develop a rapport with this offense that, by the way, Bo, is going to remain intact next year. Like, why should Cardinal fans be a believer in this passing game that, for whatever, it doesn't matter who the opponent is, seemingly goes missing more often than not?
Yeah, I mean, it goes missing mostly right now in the red zone. I mean, I thought that they did a decent job moving the ball throughout most of this game. You had explosives. You had one from Dortch. You had one from McBride. You had the 23-yard catch from Marvin Harrison Jr., but you're looking for that consistency, right? I think, the main frustration can be also the one kind of positive outlook, and I know it's like kind of the definition of insanity is, you keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results, and I think that's kind of the routes that they're running. But if they can find and get this offense, especially in the passing attack, to click maybe next week against Carolina, you'd be in a good spot, going up against a big game against the Los Angeles Rams in Week 17. But look, they got to continue to find and create and kind of get their job done as far as getting to that point and winning this football game. They had to look to a couple of necessary evils, and running the football was one of those, or could be deemed one of those, in lieu of trying to get it to the passing attack that everybody's been craving to see all season long.
I want to keep Bo here if we could, but let's jump in. Let's hear from the head coach, Jonathan Gannon, meeting with Bo and the rest of the Phoenix media just moments ago.
Real quick, injury-wise, Mac went out with a concussion. Jesse Lucetta went out with a thigh. Max Melton had a shin, but then came back in. And then Trey, I think in the second half there, had an ankle. Trey Benson. Obviously, good to get back in the win column there. I thought we did enough to win the game. I like the run game. Obviously, the fourth down stop on defense and the takeaway. And then our offense scoring points, converting third downs there in the second half, I thought were huge components of the game. Allowed us to really score the last 2 drives there before the last one. Probably got to do a little bit better job in kind of that 2-minute mode. They're down a little bit in the pass game. I didn't like some of the explosives, but ultimately good to get back in the win column and win a game. And we'll be on to Carolina here tonight.
In that game, or did you feel just stick with it?
No, I mean, they got to say 2. You know what I mean? They do some things down there that are unique, but I thought we stuck with it, and we decided to kind of change the play types up a little bit when we got down there, and I thought it was good. Like I said, those 2 touchdowns there in the second half were huge to put points on the board. Good, yeah. I thought, some of those third downs were, unbelievable plays. I think the 2 to Trey off the top of my head, but yeah, he was pulled by the Zerber and then went back in the game and played winning football for us. There's no doubt.
Awesome.
Yeah, good. That's and again, the game plan's dictated by the quarterback had a lot to do with how we played today, and I thought for the most part did a pretty good job of not letting them beat us with extension, and I thought we were in his face a little bit. But we'll look at the tape, but I thought they played well enough to win. It was a good job by the defense.
What was your assessment, Brittan, going to the Cardinals defense today?
Oh, I think they played well. I think they've played just as well as they have for the most part all season long, right? They give you every opportunity to win a football game, and today they definitely saved you in the first half, right? I mean, outside of if Jonah Williams doesn't come up with that, fumble recovery in the end zone, you're looking at a 6-3 game at halftime.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think for the fact that the defense held them to 3 points in the first half, yes, they gave up a couple touchdowns in the second half. I think it was garbage touchdowns. I think you knew the game was in hand.
Yep.
But at the same time, like we've talked about all year, this defense has done more than what anybody, gave them credit for all season long. And I think as a fan watching it, you have to understand what you've seen and how good they've played and how hard they've played. And every game, like even the close games that the Cardinals have lost, without the defense that we have right now, we lose these games by 20 points.
No doubt. I mean, Bo, your assessment of the defense, specifically our X-Factor player of the game, Darius Robinson, as frustrated as we may be with what's going on with Marvin Harrison Jr., it was great to see Darius pick up where he left off training camp. Big sack, had a holding penalty. I even thought he had a tackle for loss. Didn't show up in the box score. Big number 56. You see the tools that are eventually going to make him a special player for this franchise.
Yeah, I think you see playmakers now, impact players on this defense emerge, along with, Darius Robinson. Continue to see good, high gaudy tackle numbers from Kazir White and Budda Baker. You saw 2 tackles for a loss from Baron Browning. That acquisition finally paying off in the form of him getting his first sack as well. We're in a Cardinals uniform along with Darius Robinson. You're seeing guys on every level of this defense make an impact and get this team off the field, right? They were really good on third down today. And, they were in the fourth quarter. We were looking at this defense for 4 out of 5 games not surrendering a touchdown. Now, that certainly changed. They gave up, 2 scores by the end of it. But another great performance, I think, that kept them in this and did help them find their way on the offensive side of the football. Now, it looks like our guy Craig Morgan did just drop his little report there on Twitter, and we'll have, of course, that insight for you here in just a few moments on PHNX Cardinals.
Everybody be sure, like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Let's hear from the franchise quarterback, Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I thought it was efficient. I didn't think it was, unbelievable, but I thought it was efficient. I think the defense did a great job today. Really had our backs, and I think it was just a great team win today. I don't know. I thought, Marv won for sure. Obviously, like I said, Gonzo's a great player. I know, second year, but he's going to be one of those guys. Already is, but I think that's just good on good. He made a great play. This win or? This one, yeah. Yeah, honestly, dude, I'm just I'm really not even looking forward. I'm not looking forward. Today was the focus. It's got to be that way. It's got to be that way. Otherwise, I don't even want to look forward to it. Obviously we took care of business today. Go back and watch the tape and then get ready for the Panthers.
We're going to get to this news surrounding Craig Morgan and Budda Baker right around the corner here. That's coming up after a brief break here on PHNX Cardinals. Could be money dished out for the franchise safety. How about protecting your money with our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union, the official credit union of PHNX Sports and the Arizona Cardinals and the Venerable household? That's because for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicating to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community. And they're offering everything from checking accounts, savings, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more to help you achieve your financial goals and dreams. Plus, rep the Red Sea right now. I do it every day. It's fantastic. With a Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card, get the helmet, get the player jersey, get the bird, whatever you want to do. Show your team spirit. Open up a free checking account online and get an Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. Go to desertfinancial.com/Cardinals to get started. And speaking of getting started, I'm ready to get started right now on the Game Time app. Arizona Cardinals, as crazy as it sounds, have one home game left, and it could be a pivotal one against the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to hook you up right now. You want to go to that game? You want to save some money? How about the bonus code PHNX for $20 off your order with our friends at Game Time? And again, it's not just Cardinal games. How about Suns, right? We got D-back spring training right around the corner. Of course, U of A basketball. ASU, you go into, a playoff game for ASU. We don't know who they're playing yet, but right now you can get tickets right now to the Peach Bowl with our friends at Game Time. Again, use the bonus code PHNX for $20 off. And they've got not just sporting events, right? They're going to get you into the game. They're going to get you into a concert. They're going to help you get your parking passes, musicals, festivals, whatever you want to do. Do it with our friends at Game Time. Again, $20 off the bonus code with the or $20 off your order with the bonus code PHNX. All right, as we bring Bull Brock back on the show again, everybody be sure like this video. Craig Morgan puts it out on Twitter. Bull Brock, Arizona Cardinals are talking contract extension with Pro Bowl All-Pro safety Budda Baker, who was just a phenom today, leading the team in tackles. I think he leads the NFL in tackles. Bo, what more can you tell us?
Solo tackles as he added 7 more of those today, and 10 total. His season complete total tackles is 142 on the season. He's a couple shy of his career high, which is 147. Should get that maybe in the first drive next week against the Carolina Panthers. But like the James Conner move, I think Budda Baker's proving this potentially to be a savvy move by Monty Ossenfort to keep one of the leaders within the organization. Somebody that was drafted in this organization in the second round in 2017 has done nothing but contribute year in and year out, put his heart and soul into this. And for the team to go from Budda Baker, when this regime took over, requesting a trade, to potentially wanting to stay here, it's just a massive sign that, you know, things are continuing to trend in the right direction for the Cardinals, that good players want to stay here, want to finish their career here potentially, and to potentially see Budda Baker finish it here where it started, it'd be a huge win for Cardinals fans.
Brittan Golden, we talked about, like, during this season, would they let Budda walk? Would they try to go to Taylor Demerson? Jalen Thompson's under contract. As the season has progressed and questions have arose about Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr., the one constant, it feels like, for the entire team outside of, like, the Trey McBrides of the world, it's Budda Baker. And we've got the blurb here from Craig Morgan. Let's show it on the screen. The Arizona Cardinals are talking extension with Budda Baker. Budda had 10 tackles against the Patriots today, and now just 6 tackles shy of breaking a career high set back, I believe, in 2019. So, Brittan, like, how imperative is this to get this done? And number 3 certainly has forced the issue.
No, and I said it earlier, you know, in the year and going forward, always have. Budda is one of those guys that you need on that defense, right? He's since he's got to this organization, when he was a rookie, when I was here playing, like, you've seen the fire in him. You see how he plays the game. He was a leader when he got here, right? Even as a rookie, you could just see when he got on the field, there was just an aura about him, like, out there. He's coming out there to break necks. I'm telling you, he's trying to play this game 100 miles an hour. He wants to be the best guy out on the field and off the field that he can. He's a great human. Like, this is one of those guys that you need in your organization lifetime-wise. His entire career, that you want to see him here, kind of like how you had Fitz here, right? Fitz was that pinnacle the entire time. Nobody wanted to see him leave. I think it's the same thing with Budda, right? And it's well-deserved. I mean, like you said, the stats speak for themselves with Budda, and they've done it year in and year out. So I think it's a good move. Classy move, good move by the organization. I mean, we haven't said that too many times in this organization, but I think it's a great move. I'd love to see Budda stay here and finish his career here.
Bo, it's funny, like, this team that was thought of as an offensive juggernaut in the preseason being carried by their defense, I tweeted out during the game, Cardinals should just fully embrace heel mode and go defense. Is this a sign in that direction? Like, we know the Cardinals have $100 million plus to spend in free agency. We know that they're going to attack pass rusher early and often. Like, with what you've seen from this team, and Nick Rallis now bound to be back next year, barring something unforeseen, like, could you see a philosophical change on how they win games in 2025?
What would change? I mean, that's how they're winning games right now. I mean, it's right here and now. I mean, they've got a defensive head coach. They've got a rising star defensive coordinator. The personnel is catching up. You know, they've already got guys on most levels right now. You got to shore up the defensive front 7, but you really like what you have as far as your defensive secondary. You know, at the very back end with Budda Baker, I think you like the addition of Rabbit Taylor Demerson. Had another big play today. And, you know, Max Melton and Garrett Williams. I mean, it's a nice little defense that's budding right now. And to keep a guy like Budda in place, it's big. I mean, Johnny, you know, you and I both were 2 guys that just looked at the current state of the NFL, and safety was not a valued position. It's a testament to Budda and his play over the last 2 seasons, especially this past season, to kind of work himself back into an extension. It really is. He's let it speak for itself and kind of made himself undeniable as far as the Cardinals go, and just say, hey, we can't can't let this guy exit this organization. We can't even let it come close to him hitting the opening market come March.
Yeah, I see a lot of kind of tongue-in-cheek in the chat saying, like, this isn't breaking news. Like, you bet your ass it is. Monty Ossenford could have allowed Budda Baker to hit the open market and say, hey, go get an offer. I'll see if I can match it. And at that point, you didn't feel very good. You wouldn't feel very good about his prospects of returning. Like, the fact that they're negotiating with him tells me this will get done. This will get done before free agency. Like, it's called making it a priority. And you know Budda Baker, gentlemen, wants to be a priority for the Arizona Cardinals. So, like, I scoff at the people saying, this isn't significant news. You're telling me right now a team that's already got a big money contract safety next year under contract in Jalen Thompson, just drafted Taylor Demerson, and their defensive MVP is Budda Baker. Like, re-signing Budda isn't a big deal. Talking to him about an extension, like, come on. Like, they want this out there. They want some good mojo and some press. And kudos for Craig Morgan for getting the scoop, because Budda Baker, like Larry Fitzgerald, as you mentioned, is a savvy businessman. Like, he doesn't want to be the next, like, Justin Simmons, where he's sitting around in the summer waiting for a deal. He's like, well, I want to play. It's going to mean something to me to be a career Cardinal, have an opportunity not only for the Ring of Honor, but maybe the Hall of Fame. Like, he should be an all-pro player this year. It's going to make his 9th straight Pro Bowl. The Cardinals want to check boxes before getting into free agency. They re-signed James Conner during the season. Now they're poised to do the same thing with Budda Baker. Get your ass out of here if you're saying this isn't breaking news or significant. Like, you wanted to go and have the song and dance show without Budda Baker in free agency. Everybody would have been freaking out about the state of this team losing Budda Baker. Like, I get it. Safety is devalued. Taylor Demerson's going to be a good player. Right now, I think it bears a question. What do you do with Jalen Thompson, who I thought played much better today? Maybe they just, Bo and Brittan, they roll with 3 safeties next year. Maybe not, but Budda Baker, like, he has forced the issue. It's James Conner did the same thing. It's like nobody thought he would survive the Ossenford era after he had that Keim contract, right? Everybody just assumed, oh, he's going to be a guy that's cut. Nope, it turns out he's the heartbeat of the team. And then Budda Baker, on the flip side, did that defensively. So if you're going into next year and you're like, how are we going to get over the hump and make the playoffs? It is imperative that you have number 6 and number 3 wearing Arizona Cardinal uniforms.
No, I agree. And going back to it, like, what Budda's been able to do this season alone, like this, the way, if you were the GM going out there saying, we'll let you test the market and we'll see if we can match, you're not matching it. Just, I mean, you can say age, this and that, but the way he plays the game of football and how pivotal he is in every aspect of this defense, he's everywhere. They were showing a graphic on the TV about Budda's finding the direction of where the football is going before the play even develops, right? He's there. He's in on every type of tackle. He's in the backfield when he needs to be. Like, the guy is everywhere. So it's one of those, like, yeah, we'll let him test the open market and see if we can match it. If you would have let him test the open market this year, you're not matching it. There's no way you would have enough money to match
he'd be gone.
it. So you got your safety back. You got the guy that runs your defense, that calls your defense, that basically is the leader of your defense. You've got him back. Now you can build defensively, free agency, draft-wise, and try to just bolster this defense in the offseason.
All of our streaming partners, we appreciate you. If you're watching on streaming, on TV, jump on over to gophnx.com. The conversation continues with almost, I think we've got well over 1,000 people live. Drop a like on this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. You have an opportunity to win a free Pit Boss grill. Find out more about that. We're going to drop a link in the description. We've got Bo Brack at State Farm Stadium. We have super chats aplenty, but before we get to that, let's count some cards here on a very lopsided win for the Redbirds. Again, coming out with a 30-17 win. You'll take a win when you can get it. Let's check out those by the numbers here. Brought to you by our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union. Cardinals win. They check the boxes in total yardage, passing yardage, rushing yardage, takeaways, and a big one. After starting the game 1 for 6 on third down, they finished 10 for 15 as the Patriots, they go over. So again, a lot of good. Again, not where you want to see it from a big explosives offense, Bo, but I think to your point, the more we look into these numbers, the more Jonathan Gannon's team is just kind of breathing a sigh of relief after a loss last week. And this was a Patriots team that played well against Indianapolis, that damn near beat the LA Rams, and then also, Bo, went into Chicago and beat the holy hell out of Matt Eberflus' Chicago Bears.
Yeah, still a bad team. Very bad team. We saw that on display, right? I mean, when it was getting it was like 13-3, I'm like, if this gets to 13-10, do we hit the panic button? But they were able to kind of impose their will on them and through the run game and moving the football. But you look at those numbers, and the third down numbers are unbelievable. You said they started 1 for 6 and they finished 10 for 15. Just a really good job there in a crucial situation by this team to do it. I think that really what this team needs to do going forward is find a way in the red zone. And I thought that they did a better job of that. The gimmick play, it worked. It was unfortunate that Dortch fumbled the football, and it's a good thing that Jonah's right there. You're able to convert 3 of those situations for touchdowns. Otherwise, you're just relying on Chad Ryland. But you still need to see, I think, an improvement in the red zone. So you're looking at it offensively. Yeah, obviously you wanted to see more of the downfield passing between Kyler and Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think overall this offense did a little bit better than people want to give them credit for.
Agreed. And the run game had a massive part in picking up some of these third downs today. But the big thing was, as I saw somebody say in the chat too, is you were in third and manageable for the most part today. Right? You didn't find yourself in 3rd and 15 and, 3rd and 12s and 3rd and 20s too often today. So, I mean, it kind of opens up things where you can, right? It's not as egregious to see you run the ball on 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 1. Like, you kind of would rather see that. I don't want to see a back shoulder fade ball on 3rd and 1, right? Especially when we've completed 1 of 25 this year, right? So allowing yourself to be in situations where it's 3rd and short, where you can run and competent run play, not a halfback draw on 3rd and 19, right? But you can sit here and say, we're going to run inside zone or outside zone with James Conner, get him downhill where we can pick up 2 yards. The 10 of 15, yes, the run game allowed you to be in that where you were 50% plus on 3rd down today, and it helped, right? And it's kudos to the offensive line this week because they've done something that they forgot how to do the previous 3 weeks, and that's play on the other side of the football and move. And again, right, we've said this all day. No, that was not a good defense that you played against, but that's what you have to do against a bad defense. You've got to be able to run the football and establish the run, and they did it today.
Let's jump back into these super chats. Damon Dawg.
Let's do that. Josh, $5, sends in, this game shows me the disconnect between MHJ and Kyler is all on MHJ's side. Kyler threw some dimes, and MHJ couldn't get him.
Bo, what was your vantage point to the throws from K1? Do you think it's mostly on Marv? Like your assessment of that relationship here, 14 games through this season?
The back shoulder wasn't good enough, right? It was too low. It hit the defender right in the back, didn't it? And then the ball that he put right on Marv that would have been a touchdown, really damn good play by Christian Gonzalez. But I think it's not so much this play in particular, guys, but the fact that he hasn't come down with really any of those like 50-50 balls, you would call them, right? And I think that you have to tip your cap, give credit to Gonzo there, but people want to see Marv win those battles, right? Because it was a good ball. It was a great ball from Kyler. He had the position. I mean, he had enough room to get his feet in, just couldn't secure the catch. And I think people just want to see him come down with a couple tough catches like top wide receivers in the league do. And the connect there, like I really liked what they did the first 2 plays to Marv, and then it felt like they went away from it, like the 23-yard play. What's that?
It absolutely did. Like I felt like that 23-yard play to open up the game where it's underneath crosser and they let him in space a little bit. It's like that's the only time I felt like they did that. This entire post-bye period.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then once it wasn't getting going as far as in the red zone. Those 2 times or on 3rd and in critical situations, it felt like they were just like, okay, we're just going to go to Trey McBride because that's money in the bank. And we're just going to have to, get this dub here, and then we'll continue to work on this thing. And the work in progress, the hard hat area continues as far as that duo goes.
Let's keep it going. How about this one from new guy Nick Damon Dawg? Back to back.
Jesus, I don't know if I've ever felt worse about it.
Let's keep it going.
Straight back and says, P.S. I think every Cardinals fan all said, "What are you doing?" all in unison when Kyler threw that pick.
I mean, we did in here. It was. I don't think it was a "What are you doing?" It was more of a WTF in this room. But yeah.
That would have been what? How many games in a row with
that's what you're looking at. What, 4 games in a row with a
yeah.
Oh god.
He's still got just 3 touchdowns, 5 picks post bye. I mean, like we're gonna look up at the end of the year. He's gonna be the quarterback in 2025. We're huge supporters of Kyler Murray, but the statistics this year are going to be damning in not a good way. The passing numbers are not going to be good enough for a team that has a defense that's overachieving, Bo, a run game that's elite at times, good special teams. Like Kyler Murray's on pace right now to throw like 20 touchdown passes. And again, like it's what is it? Is it an indictment of Petsine? Is it Kyler's issue? Is it the receivers? Like Michael Wilson wasn't a focal point today, which was laughable at times. Like I want to be able to point the finger at something, and every time I do, I'm told that that's the wrong answer. No, you can't blame the play caller.
Well,
no, it's not Kyler Murray.
It's a mixture of
what
everybody.
Is it?
I think it's a mixture. It's an indictment on all 3 positions: offensive coordinator, quarterback, and wide receiver. Right? I feel like we don't put our offense in the best situation with some of these play calls. I feel like quarterback at times makes horrible decisions, and then on the other side of it, when your receivers aren't getting open, it's hard to make a good decision because there is no good decision with throwing the football when everybody's plastered and covered and can't create separation. So at the end of the day, all 3 of them deserve all types of blame. Quarterback, OC, receivers, they're all the problem right now. And until receivers can figure out how to get open, quarterback can trust it and feel comfortable in the pocket, and OC can put you in situations that are, winning situations. Until you see that 3, it's going to be the same type of offense that we see right now.
Yep.
I think if you can clean up the red zone situation where you can find a way to get net more touchdowns, especially from the passing game, that would help out a lot. But you really have to rid yourself of these are boneheaded WTF plays.
Yes.
And Kyler said that much himself. He said, "I can't do that." And he's prided himself, this play calling, this offensive coordinator, and putting himself in a position where he doesn't have to put on the superhero cape. But often, like what we've seen with some of these interceptions, he's trying to play hero ball, and it goes horrendously wrong. So, at some point, maybe you take a sack, you throw the football away, and you live to see another day. Even if he throws that ball away, he probably still takes the shot. They still get the first down on that.
But you would rather see him just go down. Just go down, punt the football. Let your defense has been playing well all game. Like that's something right there that if you're the franchise quarterback, that's not going to keep your job very long if those are the plays that you try to make.
Yeah.
Let's go to this next one, Damon.
Yeah, Trenell comes in $5, says long term, I'm still a believer, but we need Marv to work with Fitz this summer to work on separation techniques.
I mean, that's his dad's a Hall of Famer. You don't need to go work with Fitz. Just go home. I mean, you can. Don't get me wrong. Fitz will help you. Fitz was the king of getting open. Even when he was covered, he was open. It was just one of those but the difference is Fitz knew how to use his body to get open. Right? Fitz knew how, he utilized that chicken wing. Also, Fitz was 230 pounds. Right? He was strong as an ox. Like there's no way you're hanging on top of him because he's creating separation. Right? So I'm not saying it would be a bad deal. But I mean, you're gonna have to find time where Fitz is in town. That's the first part.
You what? 499 says, let's not forget this team is ahead of schedule. I know it's frustrating, but at the start of the year, 8 and 9 wins would be thought of as a huge step up.
I agree with the thought process there, but I think when you look at the way that they've lost games and you look at who is overachieving and who is underachieving, you never want to be in a position where you end a season questions about your franchise quarterback and the player you just took 4th overall. If we're having conversations this year about the defense, it looks atrocious. Well, we know it doesn't have the best personnel, right? Or they haven't spent enough money, or guys got hurt. The offense is the offense. Everybody's here. Everybody's been ready to go. The offense, if they don't make the playoffs, is going to be the culprit, the passing game in particular. So I can't get behind. I understand the point, and it's good for Jonathan Gannon and his win-loss record because I think he's done an exceptional job. But for Kyler Murray, you're going to have to look in the mirror and be like, I played like garbage post-bye, and it cost us a playoff spot. We were 6-4 and leading the NFC West. It doesn't, Bo, get more cut and dry than that. Like, the passing game was not good enough to get the Cardinals to the playoffs this year if they miss out on the playoffs. Is that correct?
That's correct. And, like, we can't forget that we're on a collision course for Week 17. For the Cardinals to set themselves up for another big game. And, like, you can change a narrative or you can throw gasoline on a narrative come Week 17 against the Rams. If you take care of business again like you did this week against Carolina next week, you're 8-7, and you're taking on a Rams team with a lot of implications potentially in that game on the road in Los Angeles. And, you know, if you fall short, the narrative continues. If you get a job done, you put yourself in a position to maybe, you know, people like who just chatted, like that can say, hey, this is more than just, you know, we're on schedule.
Airborne $5 said, I did win the over this game, 7 versus 6.5 on the season. I know a lot of people did. Cardinals line was 6.5 again before the year, and you have to take the season at face value.
Moral victory. Yeah, you can have that.
Yeah,
right? Nobody thought they were going to win this many games, and they did. But it's one of those, like, you know, we lost, but yeah, like, it's the moral victory point right now. I think back to what Johnny was saying earlier when you were at the point of 6-4, like. You rattled off 4 straight wins, and you were leading the division, and you looked good, and there were hopes. From what you saw on the football field, you were like, this team could potentially be a wild card, you know, playoff football team. They can be that. What we saw the last 3.5, we'll call it. I mean, we won today, so I'll give it a half. But, like, that was not, like, that offense is not, you're not going to be, the playoffs are out of the question with what we saw. Right? Today kind of helps you because you put 30 on, but I mean, it's a long shot at this point. You've got to win out, and you need Seattle to lose a couple games and go from there. But I think with the football that we saw at times, you had people excited saying, hey, we have an opportunity here. To the last 3 weeks has shown us we have no business being here.
Yeah.
Right? And 2 of those losses were to a division opponent. Right. And give them credit. Seattle was ready to play both times, and they were the better football team both times. But there were opportunities in both of those games for you to win games because your defense set you up with opportunities to move the football down the field and score points, and you didn't do it.
I mean, you could have been last year's Houston to this year's Houston Texans. Like, nobody thought the team would be good, and they were picked to finish last, and they stole a division title. Like, Cardinal fans were ready to embrace that, and now it's like, what are you making hell for?
They're slumming it in the AFC South. Like, this Cardinals team would have been a playoff team in that crap division. Like, they would have ran away with it if they were playing some.
All right, I'll say, how about the Commanders? The Commanders really stole the Cardinal playoff spot this year. Like, the Commanders, Bo, beat the hell out of the Cardinals. They have a rookie quarterback.
They get four gimmies. The Cardinals get 0. They get, like, this is their, like, gimmies on their schedule. They get 2 of them. Really, I mean, I know they got the Bears and the Jets, but. I mean, they've had a brutal slate in the NFC West. It's cannibalizing itself.
But they lost to them.
Let's put this thing in perspective, as some of the super chats have been trying to do. I mean, what they've proven to do was what they couldn't do last year, where they were favored in no games. It was they took care of business against teams that they should beat, and there's something to that. But what are they going to be able to do? What's going to get them to the next level? What's going to elevate this team is going to be the offense. What we've seen is they can play some defense under Gannon and Rollis, but can they play the offense that's going to be necessary to play in January? And I think that, you know, and win big games. And we have yet to see that. The jury is still out on that. The opportunity could represent itself, but so far you've swung and missed on it this season. But, like, I'm not going to say, you know, they had an opportunity to be like the Texans. Like, if the Texans played the teams the Cardinals are playing, they're probably not a playoff team last year.
Let's keep it going, Damon. I can read these off if you got something going.
Let's go on with Tyler H. Says, get Trey an effing touchdown.
Agreed. That would have helped my parlay today for sure.
Do we have, Damon, do we have the video from Gannon talking about Trey McBride about that?
No, I don't believe we do. I can check for it real quick.
Here, you check for that. I'll get these super chats. Yanks, $9.99. I don't care how it looks, just win. It's fool's gold to expect different from what we've seen on either side of the ball. If the O was killing, then the D was slacking the same. 7-7 record would be fine. I agree with that. But again, you're going to miss the playoffs. because the teams that beat you are the playoff teams: Washington, Minnesota, the Packers, the Seahawks potentially, maybe the Rams. Like you're right there. You're the definition of a fringe playoff team. You're not good enough quite yet, barring something unforeseen. Maybe they can prove us otherwise. But the hard part is, Yanks, is that the strength of this team is holding you back. And the strength of your team was supposed to be your quarterback in this passing game and this offense. And if that's what the team is built around, where your most expensive player is holding you back and your 4th overall pick is holding you back, it's hard then to project that to, we're going to build off of this and become a Super Bowl team next year, right? Because we know 1 or 2 injuries to the offensive line or to James Conner, the defense, that can crumble and the foundation could be zilch. I cannot buy progress, even from a win-loss standpoint, when your quarterback and your offense is doing this. I will not feel good about that. When you've made Marvin Harrison Jr. a jag, just a guy. I can't sit here and say, 8 wins this year, that means 12 wins next year. That's not true at all with what we've seen.
I disagree nearly wholeheartedly to say.
Okay,
like,
then feed me what. Then tell me why.
Like we're sitting here talking about a pretty convincing win. The team's 7-7 after winning 4 games back-to-back seasons. We're seeing progress nearly everywhere, and we're saying, hey, just because Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. can't get it going, that it's all a loss. It's like that. That's ridiculous. That's to me. I don't want to come on this post-game show and say, hey, I'm angry about this. They got to 7-7. They could put themselves back in another position for a big game in week 17. I would have signed up for that before the season began. I think at the end of the season, you'll look back and say, hey, the progress is there. I'm disappointed that they couldn't show that they were ahead of schedule. But, I mean, let's be real here.
You could also argue you are ahead of schedule though right now.
I think you're in.
You win the next 3 games, which
come on. Well, let's have that conversation if they do it. If they do it,
that's what I'm saying. Hypothetical, you win the next 3 games. It's a 10-win season, hypothetically, right? But you've put yourself. I agree with Bo in this aspect. You've given yourself the opportunity to go from back-to-back 4-win seasons to a winning record at the end of the season. Regardless if you make the playoffs or not. I mean, let's just say we're not making the playoffs. You can put that out there now. A team's not good enough to make the playoffs, but you've put yourself in position to finish this season 9-8, right?
You should at bare minimum be that. You should be 9-8.
You were a team that won 4 games where I don't even think you were picked to win a game last year. Am I correct in that? You were picked to go over 17 or whatever, right? And then you come into this year and you were picked 6.5, right? It's another one of those moral victories, but there's a silver lining where you're. It's not like I'm not saying that this team is great. I'm just saying you've given yourself an opportunity.
I can appreciate
to finish with a winning record.
I can appreciate what both you guys are saying, but specific to Bo, you are in the minority, my guy, because most people, when we started this show, most people online were upset about the optics of this show. And what did we say all week, Bo? It's like style points matter. The offensive passing game still looks awful. It looks ass at this late in the season. That's a red flag. You're telling
not ass. It wasn't ass today, man. Do we watch the same 60 minutes?
It's just the downfield is what you don't like. The downfield passing game is bad.
There's no continuity with the receivers sans Trey McBride. And we saw each of the last 3 weeks when defenses take away the run game and defenses know the Cardinals have to throw, they can't do it. But we knew today
30 points. You score 30 points. You equal your touchdowns that you scored the previous 3 weeks,
a JV
right?
Come on,
and
that's
you
a
go
JV
10.
Team.
You go 10 for 15 on 3rd down, and everybody's like, "Wah, we didn't get a passing touchdown." Wah. It's just come on, guys.
Go to the next one, Johnny.
You've turned Kyler Murray into Alex Smith, and you turned Marvin Harrison Jr. into Quentin Johnson. I can't take it. Let's keep going.
Tom Bauer 199 says, consider the 2 elite passes to MHJ in the end zone.
I mean, the one that Gonzo made a great play on, I get that, but you do want to see that. That's a catch that's the big NFL catch that you have to make. That's the one that you got to squeeze and come down with. Yes, it's a contested catch. Yes, he's got a hand in there, but when you go through this league right now, all these big time number 1 receivers that are having the great success and going, they make those catches. They come down with that ball. Yes, he's a rookie. Yes, it's early. Yes, he's learning. but you need to start seeing that in week 15, week 16. It needs to start being like a prevalent thing. Like it's like Marvin Harrison needs to be the guy that can go up, win this 50-50 ball. More. I mean, he's probably less than 10% in winning this 50-50 ball this year. Right. And that's unacceptable if you're going to be, wide receiver 1, especially with a 6'5" frame. Right. You've got to be able to win the 50-50 balls, the contested catches. You got to be able to come down with it. And we're seeing it throughout the league. Right. I mean, I don't think Puka Nacua has caught a catch that he hadn't been getting, completely somebody draped on his back or some ignorant toe tap in the back. That's what's going to separate Marvin. And yes, we can make the argument he's a rookie, he's learning, he's doing it. But I mean, there's rookies that are doing exactly what veterans are doing right now, and we watched 2 of them do it today.
I'm gonna pose this super chat to Bo. Josh, $5. 3 position changes on the offensive side of the ball this offseason. Backup QB, guard, left guard, slot receiver, maybe. Those don't change how the offense plays. So I'm asking you, Bo Brock, if most of the DNA of this offense returns, especially the play caller, how does this offense get better next year?
I mean, time spent together, the continuity, right, between, the battery of Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Michael Wilson, Trey McBride, James Conner coming back. I think that actually the guard position, let's not overlook that. I think interior pressure is really what can blow up Kyler making a good play, making a bad play. I mean, I think that it's tweaks. I feel like this. It is a little bit absurd that we're this far down the line in the season that it hasn't clicked and it hasn't been as consistent as it needs to be. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be as far as this offense goes. There's not going to be wholesale changes. He's right, and I agree with those upgraded positions. I think that they would make a difference just overall for the Cardinals as a team.
I think interior offensive line will be extremely helpful, especially if you can find somebody that's solid. They didn't give up a sack you can
today.
Say that, though. It doesn't matter.
They're one of the best pass protecting. They're one of the best pass protecting lines in the NFL.
Your quarterback is 5'9", Johnny.
Listen to him. Listen to him.
5'9". If you've got somebody blowing up the guard, if you've got pressure coming from the guard every single play,
but that's not why this passing game can't complete balls downfield every time.
That's not. I didn't say that was the whole thing, but that's an issue.
If we're saying that because the
left put you at quarterback and the left guard allows,
well, then you shouldn't
Aaron
have.
Donald
Then you
to come
shouldn't
through
have
that game right now. What are you gonna do?
If we're complaining about guard play being the reason why Kyler Murray has 15 touchdown passes this year,
nobody said that's the reason. We said that's a factor.
What are we doing?
That is a factor in throwing the football when you've got pressure in your face immediately, especially in the zone where you're supposed to be able to step up in. If you want him to sit in the pocket, you want him to step up in the pocket. When he steps up, he's meeting a defensive tackle. That is not ideal.
I think the offense that prioritizes running backs and tight ends is always going to have an issue with passing touchdowns. And I think you are blind out of your ass if you don't see that. They love their tight ends and RBs, and surprise, surprise, we don't have a robust passing game. Like, I think it's super obvious why this offense isn't clicking, because it's clear they are a conservative group that wants to check things down underneath, limit the mistakes. And again, you can do that against the Patriots. You're not doing that against the good teams. You have to erase those mistakes, and they don't have a deep passing game to do that. And when you're paying Kyler Murray the amount of money, you should be able to do that. You ought to be able to. Go ahead.
Can we give credit? Can we give a little credit? I thought that as far as the first and second and third and long play calling was otherworldly better than it was last week.
Much better than it has been. Much better than it has been.
I'm going to go ahead and disagree on that. I thought a lot of it was before the line of scrimmage. I thought Greg Dortch broke some tackles. Who did they complete deep passes to? Marvin the first half. Who caught a deep pass? Who caught a deep pass beyond the line of scrimmage?
Trey McBride did.
Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. had the one that they accepted the penalty, would have put him at
which
third
was
and
garbage.
one.
They should have kept Marvin's yards there.
No, it's unbelievable. You just find negative in everything.
Keep it rolling, Damon.
It's like that play that Greg had. It was great for Greg. That was 4 yards short of the sticks. Like, it's still, again, I can look at things that worked in this game that I know have not worked against good teams and be like, it's the Leonardo DiCaprio gift. It's like right there. I know that that's a losing play against good teams, that they will. Mike McDonald snuffed that out twice in 3 weeks, Drew Petzing. This is the time to work on the rhythm and timing deep. And you can't do it. I just think we have a ceiling right now with this infrastructure, and something's got to give. I mean, we were sitting here, Bo, on the halftime show, basically saying, like, we need major changes offensively. But then, James Conner did his thing in the second half, and suddenly, like, everything's fine. Everything's not fine. This offense is going to go ahead.
It wasn't just James Conner. They were moving the football down the field. Like, once Kyler came back from that atrocious play,
sure,
the offense engineered 2 touchdown scoring drives. Sure, James Conner was the guy that got to punch it in. But, I mean, Trey McBride was heavily involved. We saw another big play from Greg Dortch. And you saw, I thought, an effective run game for sure in a situation where you're trying to salt the clock away. So, I don't know, man. I just don't – we're just not going to get on the same page.
No, we're not going to agree on the dink and dunk Petzing offense. Let's keep going here.
Chris comes in, something I don't want to see, says, all this game showed me was Marv isn't him. Hate to see that, Tom. If MHJ catches those easy passes, K1 is back.
Everybody gets blamed though when it does. I mean, all that matters is you don't have passing touchdowns. Like we can blame, like, just like we talked about earlier. You can point the finger at anybody. Petzing, K1, Marv. It's not working. You guys, as a collective whole, are failing the team right now.
Our friend MacDaddy714 says, anyone else just super frustrated right now? We scored 30, and I feel like we got beat.
100%. That 100%.
Need some perspective, my guy.
Yeah, I don't. It's not that we feel like we got beat. It's just it's an underwhelming
win
pass game. That's what's ruining it, and it's not a pass game in total because under 10 yards, I think we're an elite pass team. When you get the ball in the hands, right? We find ways to do it under 10, but if we have to throw the ball downfield, it's extremely underwhelming, which just turns the game into all we're doing is running. It's just longer run plays, right? Longer handoffs, I guess. But I mean, it's just it's a boring game to watch, is what it is. That's what makes it feel so underwhelming and like nothing happened. Is it's boring football.
I mean, Jordan Love.
I can't believe we host a Cardinals show and people are like, "I'm sad about a loss." We barely got to see any effing wins for 2 consecutive seasons. We're like,
I get it.
I'm frustrated about a loss. It's like, come on, guys. I mean, the defense balled. The offense got it done. Yes.
Defense has played amazing all year, though. I mean, with what they've had and what's been out there, the defense has done their thing each and every week. They give up big plays, but it's expected. Everybody in the NFL gives up big plays. So, I think whether it's, week 18 or week 15 that we're in right now, the defense has earned its flowers for this entire 100%. Season.
They've been the best part of the team this year. Let's keep it going, Damon.
Z Warlock 505 $5 says, "Hey, Greg Dortch played a hell of a game today. Props."
Minus that fumble, he played a great game. He was really good. Yep. I mean, when Greg Dortch has the ball in his hands on the open field, he's electric to watch. He's a true return guy that knows how to move around and create plays, with the ball in his hand, right? You don't want to see the fumble, but I mean, again, it's another one of those things that happens, right? There's nobody. I mean, everybody fumbles. You can avoid it, obviously, but it happens. It's one of those things. But I agree. I think once he gets the ball in his hands, he's an electrifying player to watch. He can create big plays, as you saw today, right? It was a 2-yard pass that ended up going for about 40. So, I mean, I liked what I saw.
Next super chat comes in from Nathan. Nathan says, "May bust, 2 touchdowns, 4 incompletions, franchise QB."
I mean, let's see Drake May.
He's young. He's got time, though.
With expectations. I mean, I know, like, I thought Drake May, like, had opportunities downfield more than Kyler Murray was allowed to have those today, but he also had nothing to lose. Like, Drake May has nothing to lose in these games as long as he's not awful Bryce Young style. Like, he'll be fine. But
Bryce Young's playing some good football right now, so we can't really.
Well, I mean, he was bad again today. He reverted back to a pumpkin.
I'll throw you a bone, Nathan. We said some nasty things about Drake May in the draft process on this podcast, and he looks decent. He makes a couple good throws every game.
Yeah.
He really looks good at the end of games when teams have pulled away, and then they start letting them throw the ball around.
Bad situation. That's a really bad situation.
Might be a short
for
situation.
A rookie quarterback to be in. You're asking him to carry a bad football team.
Bad defense,
we're talking
bad
about
O-line,
no separation in our offense at receiver-wise, but he has got nobody over there that can get off the line of scrimmage half the time. So, I mean, what he's able to do in the situation that he's in,
I want to interrupt this post-game show. Jordan Love absolutely shredding the Seattle Seahawks. They're up 14-0. Jordan Love 6 for 6, 62 yards and a touchdown. The deep passing game working just fine for the Green Bay Packers.
Let's you hate it. You hate that the Seahawks are losing. Way to continue to find negatives.
I think we see the recipe on how to beat Seattle. I think we see it, and it's throwing the football.
Oh, darn
Keep
it.
it going.
The Seahawks are losing a football game. Come on, Johnny. Drake May, though, he was 10 for 10 at halftime. Like, it took the first pass of the second half for his first incompletion, but it was very underwhelming. Like his 10, like the way he started out. I thought he did some good things at the end, like Damon was saying, where he was able to kind of stat pad a little bit. But yeah, good games to build off for the third overall pick.
He's shown enough this year where you can feel good about him going into the next year. I think that's the best you can say about Drake.
That's what. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, One Airborne says, at least I got picked the over for the season 6.5. Now I got paid.
Yeah, I think we hit that one too. Potion, let me read this one. Time to be honest, Kyler and Petsing can be decent, but they'll never reach the level we want. Both make at least one inexcusable mistake each game. I think they've shown they can beat bad teams. I think Petsing in particular, he can put together an infrastructure where you can run the football and have good pass protection, no doubt. And that's his best attribute, is he keeps Kyler Murray upright. Again, not sacked today. But when you invest so much in these weapons and you don't use them, it's I think demoralizing for Cardinal fans to watch. It's like I shouldn't have to sit here in week 14 and be like, can Marvin Harrison Jr. get a couple passes thrown to him, some easy layup throws to get his confidence up? It's going to be a talking point this offseason, and it's either going to be Petsing, Kyler, or Marv. You're going to be anti one of them or multiple of them. I just think that's really unfortunate. It doesn't have to be that way. Tua Tagovailoa does not have the arm of Kyler Murray or the mobility, but Mike McDaniel knows how to get him in space to be able to throw the ball deep to Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. And you want to say, well, Marv's not those guys yet. I just feel like right now they just make things very difficult on themselves when you don't have to. We need some evolution of this offense. Maybe it comes in the offseason.
Trenton Smith says, what would be a big swing on offense?
To fire Drew Petzing, I think would be the only big swing you can make. You're not getting rid of Kyler Murray. Wouldn't you agree, Bo? Like you're not trading Marv. You're not getting rid of Kyler Murray. The big swing would be that they fired Drew Petzing at the end of the year.
Maybe. Do we have a pass game coordinator?
Drew Terrell.
Drew Terrell.
He's not getting fired.
Well, I mean,
co-offensive coordinator.
Yeah, can we maybe put our heads together and try to find a system that both of us agree on? I mean, I'm not to say they don't right now, but I mean, they're more than likely not firing Petzing. But I mean, is there an opportunity to bring someone else in as a consultant, as somebody that's had success throwing the football in this league that maybe is not on a team right now? Right, even if it's somebody that's just hanging around and doing you've got to find ways to get this downfield passing game relevant again, and it's just not. And we've said it 100 times, throughout the season and today. It's just you don't pose a threat, to defenses or to defensive coordinators, which is why I've seen people in the chat say too. They're flooding the box, right? Yeah. They're putting as many people in the box that they can. And just saying, throw the football, I dare you. Because we think that these corners and the nickel and these safeties are better than the skill players that you have on offense. And until that changes, that's what you're going to see. And like Johnny said, everybody said, this is the offense that's going to be back next season, coordinator included. So something's got to give. Try something new. Bring in somebody if you have to. You use the guys you have. Put your heads together. Figure something out. But the downfield attack has got to change. You've got to find a way to pose a threat to these defenses and have them say, hey, we can't put 8 guys in the box. Maybe we play with 6. Maybe we play with 7. Right? Let's try to stick to zone coverages because, I mean, right now, you really don't even have to get out of man coverage against the Cardinals. You can run man coverage all day long and just trust your defensive backs.
New guy Nick comes in with another super chat, says, it looked like we were using some more motion today and trying some new things early, but we bailed on it after half. The offense is just odd.
Yeah, it's hard to wrap your arms around. Some Sundays you're like, man, that was a good day for Drew Petzing, the offense, the run game. And then when they lose, I mean, it's usually because the offense didn't do enough. It's rarely ever the defense's fault.
Alex Jerez says moral victories only matter when you're a bad team.
Agreed.
I think if Kyler Murray's a rookie this year, you can talk about moral victories. When Kyler Murray's in his 6th year making this much money, and we're talking about him not.
This is a victory. This is a win-win. They won the football game.
There's a W in the win column, and at the end of the day, he won. Right? You win
handily.
PR
Mac $2 says offensive play calling doesn't scare playoff teams.
It doesn't scare non-playoff teams.
No.
The Patriots have they're not even sniffing. They're like, nobody in that Patriots locker room they've been booking Cabo tickets about 5 weeks ago. All right. And they were not a bit scared of a downfield passing attack. They loaded the box today and said, Gonzo is going to stop your self-proclaimed not self-proclaimed, but this podcast proclaimed #1 receiver, right? We got a DB that we know is better than who you've got out there at #1. So, I mean, to say a playoff team is scared, I mean, there's nobody in the NFL that is scared of this downfield passing attack.
And we end things off with Cruz says, give Ben Johnson $50 million a year to be our offensive coordinator.
I think Ben Johnson is now walking through that door, and I think Kyler Murray is going to be back. I think Drew Petzing's going to be back, and the question is, will it make a difference with the amount of upgrades they're going to make to this defense? This defense is going to see an infusion of pass rushers, defensive linemen. Guys are going to be elevated past the rookie years like Darius and Max Melton and Taylor Demerson, and hopefully Budda, according to Craig Morgan, will be back. But again, like you're always, this is a passing league, this is an offensive league, and it's a quarterback league. And I think that if you're not getting the most out of Kyler Murray, or you've maxed Kyler Murray out, one of those two things, if it happens to be true, are we just kind of sitting here twiddling our thumbs and just kind of waiting for the next guy? I hope not. But I see a division which Geno Smith's leading it right now, and it's hard for me to say, like, not a missed opportunity. But Cardinals are going to be in a position right now with the Seattle Seahawks losing 14-0 to the Packers. If that score holds, Cardinals are going to have at least a shot to secure this NFC West. Seahawks need to go 1-3 down the stretch. Cardinals went out. Bada bing, bada boom. They are NFC West champions, which is still pretty wild. So playoff hopes are still alive. He's Bull Brock, Brittan Golden, Damon Dawg. I'm Johnny Venerable. Be sure to like this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Big thanks to Craig Morgan. The Scoop, we're going to have it isolated later in the day into tomorrow. And then, of course, you can read his story at gophnx.com. Become a diehard. Never been a better time for just $48 a year. Big thanks to everybody dropping super chats. Cardinals live to see another day. We're going to be back tomorrow on a Victory Monday, the first in about a month's time. I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.